Or Noah Clark, and you're watching Worldwide Sim Racing's live coverage of the 2020 WSR2 Formula World Championship. We're here, back again in the hills of Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's Spielberg, Austria, the Red Bull Ring, the home of Red Bull Racing, and we're about to get set for WSR2 action. We have 19 drivers currently on the grid, a full-packed lobby of drivers getting ready to claim glory in WSR2 and claim glory in the hills of Austria. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is WSRX. I'm going to be your main commentator tonight. It is just going to be me tonight, and I can't wait to get started with the action. Let's go over the drivers currently in the lobby right now. Going up from the top of the leaderboard, we have RacerX 133076, Broncos Fan 196, WSR Voodoo 52 in the McLaren, Toes in the Williams, Catastrophic 971 in the Alfa Romeo, Scarlogan LPC in the Renault, WSR German in the Ferrari, V8 Field in the Racing Point, followed by Intent Dash in the Renault. It's Wes is in the Red Bull, Hef in the Haas, Safi in the Alfa Romeo, and ISO is in the Ferrari. Kill is in the McLaren, followed by Bomb in the Haas. Toro Rosso in with Redline 263. Flip Flop Fish will be driving the Williams tonight. He will be filling in WSR 2. Zuti in the Red Bull Racing, and finishing that off at the moment is Axis 771. German, I do believe, just came back into the lobby. He will get back into the Ferrari. We're just getting ready for action to begin momentarily for the Austrian Grand Prix. It will be a 50% race with a short qualifying of 18 minutes. Safety car is on. Formation lap is also on. In WSR2, a few other assists are also good to go. There will be full traction control available to drivers in WSR2. Braking assist is, however, off, and it is automatic gears. And here we go, session starting in just about 25 seconds, and we'll get underway for the short qualifying session. Thank you again so much for joining us. If you are at the moment, can't wait to get ready. And here we are in the pit lane. It is sunny skies in Austria. No rain detected on the weather today, and so we shouldn't be expecting any rainfall whatsoever. And there goes the 18 minutes. Short qualifying is now underway. Again, we almost have a full grid of 20 drivers on the grid, so very good to see that. We haven't had a full grid in quite a while in WSR. Good to see WSR2 bringing in the heat. As we're just getting ready to see who will come out first out of the pits. And there is the fire up of an engine, and we're going to wait to see which kind of car comes out from their pit box. And let's see, and it looks like it's going to be it looks like an Alfa Romeo, actually. Let's see which Alfa Romeo that is, and it is I'm Sefi. He'll be the first out of the pit lane. We're going to ride on board with him and take you around the Austrian ring, the Red Bull ring, and here we go on board with Sefi right now, coming up after turn 1. Into the kink of turn 2, and then slowing up for the tight turn of turn 3. Making sure not to lose the back end. Now putting on the DRS, coming down the next straight. A few kinks through here. And then hard braking on the downhill section. Easy to lose your line through here. Riding the curb a little bit there, keeping it out of the curbing on the exit. And trying to maintain as much speed through this turn, making sure to keep it nice and easy. Missing the line there a little bit. You're okay to run up on the curb there. Keeping it close to the line, not trying to run up on the curb there. And then slowing up the warm of his tires a little bit on the curb there. And now speeding it up a little bit. Coming into the penultimate turn, easy to run wide, so make sure to control your speed through there. And now around the final turn, a little bit of a dip there, and we're ready to go on this lap. Coming out of the line, and here we go. DRS activated. Down the line, into turn 1. Somebody's coming out of the pit lane. I hope there's not a compromise there, and I believe it is a McLaren who comes up onto the line, and oh no, look at that, and that is the McLaren. I don't know which, I believe that was Voodoo 52 coming out of the pit lane. And no, it was the other McLaren of Kill who might have compromised the Alfa Romeo of Sefi, who was coming around turn 1, and that was definitely not good indeed. That might have to be investigated later on after the session. Possibly some penalty points to get induced there. And I'm going to ride up back on board with Sefi, who will be finishing his lap momentarily. Now coming on through the third sector, riding the curb a little bit, keeping it off the curb through here. On the curb a little bit there. And then full throttle again, coming into the penultimate turn. Again, having to control your speed. Running up on the curb, and that's a major corner cut, followed by a major track extension. I do believe this lap will get invalidated coming across the line. He did cut the corner quite considerably there, and yes, it is an invalidated lap, not going to be able to set a time in the Alfa Romeo. Racers will go fastest, though, currently in the Racing Point. It's a 106.2. Gurman then goes faster. There goes Toes in second. Racer down the third. Flip-Flop Fish goes fourth fastest currently. Now riding on with Redline. Redline extending the track there. That might be a track extension, and that might cause his lap to get invalidated. Coming across the line, he will set a time. It is a 6th fastest time. V8 goes to the top of the leaderboard. Zoe then will Zutu. Going to try to ride on board of Broncos fan. 196 coming through the penultimate turn in the Mercedes. Broncos around the final turn. And he'll go third fastest. It's a 106 flat. Let's ride on board with Sefi, who's actually going in the pits. Hef is now going to get into the second sector. Kill goes fastest with a 105.2. And Bomb is behind him. ISO goes third fastest in the Ferrari. Axis is about to set his lap. What will it be? It's going to be 7th fastest. The Mercedes, 6th and 7th currently on the grid. Going to ride on board with Hefi's in the third sector. Intent just finishing up the first sector. Catastrophic is just coming up towards the third sector of the track. Hef coming around the final turn. Let's see what the Haas can do. And this time will be 13th fastest. Here comes Catastrophic, and he will be going into the pit lane, not finishing his lap. Kilbick has to get out of the way there. Going to ride on board of Intent, currently in the third sector in the Renault. And Intent will be going into the pits as well, not happy with his lap. On and out lap currently is Sefi, who did not set a time in qualifying. Kilbick is going to, I presume, come into the pits after this. He did not go into the pits again. And I would presume is on low fuel soon. In fact, he might be on low fuel now as he's going a little slow. You know, I think that is just my bad depth of perception. I'm going to bring up the track map, full track map, so you can see all the action going on currently on track. Just about 12 minutes left to go in qualifying. And Kill is on pole position at the moment with a 105.2. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3, which has since cleared up. 19 drivers are on the grid right now on what is a full qualifying session, what will be a full race. Good to see a lot of drivers showing up for the race today. There's a quick yellow flag in Sector 1. That might have been a driver going off now. Back to yellow in Sector 3. I do believe that is just Kilbick going into the pits rather slowly, so I do believe he has run out of fuel. And a bunch of drivers now coming out of the pit lane. I'm going to ride on board of Sefi right now, who should be... And Sefi has once again invalidated his lap. As you can see the red there on the track map, which is indicating he has since invalidated again. And Sefi, I presume, must have invalidated in the turn 1 or may have invalidated at the late part of the track. Intent and Catastrophic, both who have not yet set times, are currently on outlaps. Just starting a lap is Gurman, who has to overtake a Toro Rosso in the turn 1, and it's a nice overtake, even though they aren't racing yet, and the Toro Rosso is behind him. That might be... I'm not sure who that is. There's currently a driver with DRS behind, and this is not really something you want to be doing right now, getting into battles. It might be Redline. I'm not too sure. And it is Redline, and Redline has taken out Gurman, who was currently on a hot lap, and it's a 5-grid penalty for Redline. A major loss of braking in the turn 3, and takes out Gurman. And that might be investigated after, besides the grid penalty, for possible penalty points as well. Redline hitting him, and there is front wing damage. He'll definitely have to go into the pits. And Gurman's lap, of course, has been ruined because of that. He is currently a fastest, almost out of the top 10. Not a good move indeed in the turn 3. And into the pits is Gurman. I can only expect there's probably a little bit of... mic agitation in the game as Gurman slams into the pit lane. And riding on board of Broncos right now, Flip Flop Fish goes fastest on track. It's a 104.6, definitively on pole position at the moment, ahead of Kilbick, who is currently in the pit lane. It is Voodoo 52, who just came out of the pits, is behind Flip Flop Fish a moment in the McLaren. And I believe it's Sefi. Yes, Sefi goes third fastest, finally able to set a time. Intent goes fifth fastest with a 105.7. So Catastrophic, the only driver not yet to set a time. Will he set a time now? And yes, but it is going to be slowest on the grid by a full second. So not a good lap by Catastrophic. He might have made a mistake, but all the drivers that you have now set times. We're just under 9 minutes to go in qualifying. And thank you for joining us, as there is a Catastrophic went wide there. Did he crash? There is front wing damage. I think he might have crashed. I am not sure what happened there. 8 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, and he has, in fact, invalidated his time, as I would presume so. There is a crash somewhere, I think. Is there a McLaren on track or a Renault? Somebody has stopped on track, and he has since got going. This is in the third sector. It might have been... I'm not sure who that was. That might have been Voodoo 52, who's going wide on track right now. That was interesting, to say the least. I don't know who that was, but he had been stopped on track in the third sector, and there was a yellow flag there. Yellow flag sector 2, and that flag has since gone. Going to try to ride on board of Gurman, who did not set a time in the previous lap due to getting taken out by Redline in the turn 3. And, of course, I'm getting a terrible camera angle. And Intent has retired from the session. Now, what has happened here? This was just right... No, it's in Sector 2, if we can ride on board of somebody who's coming through there. And I can't see where the car is. There's a Williams who's about to come up. It might be Flip Flop Fish. I have no idea where that car is. I'm trying to get on board of somebody who's riding through there. Looks like one of the Ferraris is. The yellow flag is gone, but Intent has crashed. I did not see where he crashed, and it looks like Gurman is trying to overtake the McLaren of Voodoo 52, and Voodoo 52 then looks like he wants to lunge for it. There's front wing damage on Voodoo 52. I hope he didn't make contact with him, and that would not have been a good situation. And it has been put into the wall. Intent commenting after that he put it into the wall, so that is a crash for him. 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in qualifying, and currently it is Flip-Flop Fish on pole position. A little bit of a no surprise there, to be honest, though, considering Flip-Flop Fish is currently leading the championship in the WSR Formula World Championship ahead of Sweet Crown 19. You can make sure to check in tomorrow for the Italian Grand Prix at 6 p.m. on only Worldwide Sim Racing. It is Gurman, though, who sets pace like Flip-Flop with a 104.9, getting into the 104s. And it's the McLaren of Kill who is currently in third fastest on the grid. So Ferrari and Williams are currently on the front row of the grid. There is a yellow flag in Sector 3. I do believe there is a Alfa Romeo who was stopped on track. He has since got back on track. Seffi has dropped the 4 fastest. And look at that. Toes in the Williams putting it on the front row of the grid. Currently a Williams front row lockout, which I don't think anybody would expect ever to say in this decade, as the Williams was horribly slow last year and might not be a lot faster this year. But it is definitely going to be interesting if it stays that way to have a Williams front row lockout. It's going to be Flip-Flop Fish and Toes who are currently fastest on the grid. Gurman goes into the pit lane and now is stuck behind his teammate, Isolator. I'm going to ride on board of Seffi right now. And, almost misses Racer. He almost hit the back of Racer, who had stopped on near the pit lane. And, there's a spin by Seffi going across the pit lane and now has stopped on track. And that was a major spin. And now Seffi's reversing on track, and that might be investigated. A reversal on track. Seffi, and then Catastrophic has now retired from the session. This is a yellow flag in Sector 2. And right there, Voodoo 52 just passing the Alfa Romeo of Catastrophic, who was crashed at the beginning of Sector 2. And there's a Mercedes who's about to come by him as well. No, it was the other Mercedes. Now, Seffi might get investigated there as he reversed on track to get back into the pit lane after missing it from a spin. Now, that could have been pretty bad indeed if somebody had been, in fact, on the racing line there. So I do believe Seffi will be investigated after qualifying. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. And we're just getting ready. Bomb is on an outlap, and he is coming into the final turn. He will set his final lap of qualifying. And across the line, and here we go. And there's the DRS flap open for the Haas. Closing it before turn 1, and coming in the turn 1 rather hot on the curb. Looked to be pretty good, but no, it is actually a track extension. Bomb, now on his final lap in qualifying, will not be setting a time. Kill is currently on a lap right now. Let's see what his time is going to be in Sector 2. Coming into the turn of Sector 2 where Catastrophic had just crashed. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks to be a Renault, and then that yellow flag goes away. Running up on the curb a little bit now, keeping it just on the curb there. Coming into this turn, missing the racing line rather considerably. Now onto the grass. Still, lap is all good and go. Now Kill coming into the penultimate turn. On the line a little bit there. Just on the line there. And no, a track extension. Kilbick is done in qualifying, and he will not set a final time. And here comes Gurman. He's going to be setting a lap as well. Flip-Flop Fish is currently on an out lap, and he will try to set a final time and go faster. Toes is just coming out of the pit lane with 2 minutes to go. He should be able to get around for another lap. Going to ride on board of Gurman right now. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. And then a yellow flag in Sector 3. As that's an Alfa Romeo. Is it Seffi? It is Seffi. He's coming on an L lap. He will set another lap before the end of qualifying. Gurman is now coming around the final few turns, and the track extends there a little bit, but the game says he's A-okay, as now he's going to come around the penultimate turn, make sure not to track extend here, coming around there, and he spins as well, and he's going to come into the pit lane. It's a crash. Front wing comes off the car, and Gurman's qualifying is over. His teammate Isolator passes him, as he will come across the line, and he will go 11 fastest. He stays just about where he was, but Gurman's qualifying is over as he's not going to be able to set another time. And Flip Flop Fish has invalidated his final lap, and he is done in qualifying as well. Kilbick comes into the pits. And Seffi is done in qualifying. X-Bomb comes across the line. He is currently 5th fastest. And here comes Toes in the Williams. 48 seconds remaining in qualifying. Coming into turn 1. Riding on the curve a little bit there, but it is not invalidation. And it looks to be pretty good right now. Another DRS detection zone here, as the DRS will now close just before turn 3. And coming in the turn 3, making sure to hit the apex, not running too wide. Keeps it just on the curb. Looking to be pretty good so far. And there's a McLaren who was spun. And it looked to be... It might have been Voodoo 52 as it was. It was actually V8 who has since crashed out of qualifying, unless he might have gone into the pit lane there. And no, I do believe he is right there. There was a Alfa Romeo right there of Cata. I don't know who that was. Flip Flop Fish is retired from the session. Drivers are now retiring on track. There's a car that's stationed somewhere. I don't know who that is. He has now got moving again. Here comes Toes. Somebody is fastest in Sector 2. I do believe it is a Mercedes-Benz. And here comes Toes with a beautiful line through there, and then invalidates on the final turn. And that might have been a fast time, but he will remain 2nd fastest. I'm going to ride on board. Broncos goes into the pits. Here comes Axis. Axis, I do believe, who was fastest in the 2nd sector. He's coming around the penultimate turn, keeping it just off the curb. Now coming through the final turn. This will be a lap. Let's see what it's going to be. Axis is currently 11th, and he will go... No, stays 11th fastest. And all the drivers are done in qualifying. Racer goes 2nd fastest at the end of qualifying. Splits up the Williams. And it's a Racing Point and a Williams on the front row of the grid. Toes will be behind him. Somebody has gone off track. It is going to be one of the Ferraris, I do believe. There's the yellow flag somewhere on track. And Hef is in the pit lane. And just getting ready for the end of qualifying, but it is Racer who goes onto the front row of the grid. And that's the end of qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Racer on the 2nd row of the grid. Flip Flop Fish is on pole position. Toes and the other Williams will start on the 2nd row of the grid. So almost a lockout by the Williams drivers, but it's 2 Americans on the front row of the grid, followed by the Australian of Toes and the British driver of Gurman. French driver Scar Logan will get into the top 5. And just about 15 seconds left to go till the start of the race. 20 drivers just about are going to line up on the grid. 19 drivers, actually. Almost 20, but almost the entire grid will line up on the start-finish line after the formation lap, and we'll get ready for the start of the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix for the WSR2 Formula World Championship. Again, thank you very much for joining us. My name is WSRX or Noah Clark, and you're watching live coverage of the 2020 WSR2 Austrian Grand Prix. If you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and comment and like below on the video. Very, very excited for this race. Almost a full driver grid, looking to be a competitive one. And we're just getting ready for the start. All the drivers are loading up into the lobby. A few check marks over there now, so all the check marks will come in when the session starts, and then the formation lap will begin. And there's that one red light coming on, and now the drivers will begin their formation lap. Let's go over the starting lineup for the 2020 WSR2 Austrian Grand Prix. Flip-Flop Fish is on pole position in the Williams, followed by Racer in the Racing Point in second. Toes in the Ever Williams in third position, followed by WSR German in the Ferrari. Scarlogan LPC is going to be in fifth position. Kill in sixth position in the McLaren. X-Bomb in the Haas in seventh position, followed by Sefi in the Alfa Romeo in eighth. Broncos fan in ninth position, followed by Zuti, who rounds off the top 10 in the Red Bull. Axis in 11th position in the Ever Mercedes, followed by Intent in the Renault. Isolator down the grid in 13th position in the Ferrari. V8 Field, not as lucky as his teammate in second, is in 14th on the grid in the Racing Point. Hef 543 in 15th position in the Haas, followed by Wise and the Ever Red Bull in 16th. Voodoo 52 in the McLaren in 17th. Catastrophic is in the Alfa Romeo in 19th. And rounding off the rest of the grid is Redline 263 in the Toro Rosso. And there comes Flip-Flop Fish coming around the final turn, slowing his car up. The game should take control in just a moment and speed the car up a little bit, and it's going to take him into his pole position there. And there, as you can see, the wheel jerk there, and it's now going to line him up onto his pole position spot. And very interesting how the CPU is taking him in there. You might see a little bit of ghosting there. Flip-Flop Fish lines up on pole position. The rest of the grid is behind him. We're already going to get the 5 red lights, and we'll begin. And the engines roar in Austria as it is going to bring the 5 red lights as they're going to come on, and it's time to bring the action in Austria. And it's a drive-through penalty jump start for Zuti. He got off the line too early, and it's Racer who's going to jump Flip-Flop Fish into turn 1. On the inside is the Ferrari of German, who has tried to overtake, and now it's a big jumble up of cars as Flip-Flop Fish is ahead of his teammate, but Toes is just the side of him, and now on the inside is German in the turn 1, and German bumps Racer, and they're going side by side after turn 3. German, though, now slowing up was Racer, and German goes side by side of him, and he's going to get into the lead of this race. And German on the inside in the turn 4. And look at this, it is German still side by side of Racer, and this is a major battle right now already for the lead of this race, and Racer slots behind German. Toes in third position. Flip-Flop Fish with an awful start is all the way down in 4th now. There's a little bit of contact between Scarlogan and Bomb, who made contact there through the 3rd sector. I'm going to ride on board of Bomb right now. It's going side by side. Broncos has had a crash, and there's a safety car immediately deployed. And there is the Mercedes of Broncos on the track, and that does cause a safety car. And Scarlogan LPC, a severe collision, 5-second penalty with Flip-Flop Fish. Now, where's Flip-Flop Fish? He's right there. Scarlogan LPC, it might be the one of damage, and yes, there is a considerable amount of damage on the front wing. He's definitely going to have to make a pit stop, but already a safety car very early on. 36 laps currently in the Austrian ring, and there is the safety car right there. And Broncos is already out of the race from the very get-go. A spin, I presume, in the race. And it is very interesting seeing this. Oh, my goodness. Drivers are jockeying positions right now. It's a safety car. I don't know why they're doing that, as ISRL has jumped Flip-Flop, and now now I don't understand what Scarlogan is doing. I don't know if he thinks he's under a race condition right now, but somebody is... Flip-Flop Fish has now been jumping positions. Something is going on right now, but Scarlogan is ahead of Flip-Flop Fish right now, and Flip-Flop is going to try to overtake Scarlogan LPC. He should be overtaking him. I don't know why he did that. And something is going on. And now he's in the 3rd. Now, Scarlogan should be giving up these positions. This is only going to cause him issues, as was not in 3rd at the moment. There's Toes behind him. Now, is ISRL just now... He might be trying to get into the pit lane and make a pit stop. Here comes Racer into the pit lane. Ooh, look at that. Was that a dummy? That might have been a dummy pit stop. And then, now did somebody go into the pits? Did anybody get fooled by that? And it was Flip Flop Fish who goes into the pits. He might have been dummied by it. Via gets a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. And under the current safety car conditions, Gurman is leading the way in the race. And Isolator has a severe collision. That's a 5-second penalty. Somebody got a 5-second penalty with Isolator. I'm going to see. It must have been intent in Isolator. Not too sure who that was for. It's lap 3. And currently warming up his tires is Gurman. Quite a lot of cars on track. Would be nice to have had a co-commentator, but any lower class tiers will be a singular commentator from now on. The only dual commentary races will be the Tier 1 Championship in WSR. And safety car will be in this lap. The safety car will speed up. Gurman will be the leader of the pack. And, oh, wait a minute. Look, is this Racer overtakes Gurman. Now, he should have let Gurman pass, and yes, he will. X-Bomb gets another collision. X-Bomb has hit Toes. Now, where's Toes right now? Might have just made slight contact with him, and Racer and Gurman are, like, very side-by-side right now. And here he goes, I believe. Gurman is getting ready, and there he goes. He's going to come across the line, and now safety car restart is in. There's a Haas into the pit lane, I do believe. And a yellow flag in sector 1, 2, and 3. And then we go green racing once again. Gurman unchallenged in the turn 1. And he is in first place right now. Toes behind the racing point of Racer. Here comes Bomb. He's in 4th position. Followed by Seffi, who's in the 5th position. Kilbick is in 6th at the moment behind Seffi. He might make a move in the turn 3. And here he goes, late braking, trying to go around the outside, but no. Then making a switchback, but no. He will not get ahead of Seffi. And Zuti is ahead of a few drivers, Redline and Weiss. He goes wide in there, and then Scar Logan overtakes him. Voodoo 52 is all the way at the bottom of the racetrack. He's been pushed off a little bit by Wise. Now these two drivers are going to go side by side. Let's see how Flip Flop gets ahead. He should get ahead right now on the curb right there, and Wise slots behind him. Scar Logan having a little bit of issue behind Redline. And Axis has overtaken somebody, and an Isolator is down the grid. Seffi gets overtaken in 10th and 8th position. Now Redline is coming down. Flip Flop overtakes him. Intent. 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Flip Flop Fish goes into 15th. Scar Logan seemingly almost let him by, as Hef will go into 14th as Zoot takes a pit stop. And here comes Axis overtaking Seffi in the DRS zone. DRS, I don't believe has been activated just yet, as you might have to wait another 3 laps for that to happen. And Racer currently in 2nd position, trying to chase down Gurman in the Ferrari. All the drivers separated by just a few tenths of a second or just over a second. But very, very close battling right now for all the drivers. As Racer behind Gurman, the Racing Point versus the Ferrari. I don't think a battle we expected to see at all is coming to fruition right now, but Gurman currently leads the Grand Prix. A Grand Prix that he has not yet won so far in quite a few number of races. As coming into the penultimate turn, Intent has overtaken Seffi, who is still battling with him now on the inside. Axis goes a little wide through there, and Seffi gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I'm going to ride on board of Racer right now. DRS is enabled. Coming up onto this DRS straight, Gurman doesn't get a very good exit out of there. The DRS should have been activated right there, and yes, it has been. And here comes Racer. He's on the DRS. Will he go on the inside or the outside? Gurman takes the inside line, squeezing a little bit, giving him no room whatsoever. just the bare minimum, and German with good defending, but now Racer has gotten a good run out of turn 3, and he should get ahead of German before the final turn, and let's see, yes he will, and then German late braking in the turn 4, and he makes contact of Racer. They're still side by side coming out of turn 4, still side by side there, and it's now Racer on the inside, and he just gets ahead of German, but German is still keeping it there, and now finally German behind him. Yellow flag, Sector 2. Now, is this the Renault? And yes, I do believe it is the Renault of Scar Logan. German now is having a battle of toes momentarily there. Catastrophic has had an issue. And has he crashed? I don't know what happened there. There might have been an accident for Catastrophic. Nevertheless, there was a safety car being waved. German now coming into turn 1. There's contact there, and he hits the back of Racer. Now, that had to be front wing damage. Yes, it is extensive front wing damage. Toes is now on the slipstream of Racer in the turn 1. Is he going to make a move here? He's going to challenge on the inside? No. Looking on the inside, but not going to make the move there. German goes really wide. X-Bomb takes third position away from German, and he is into the top 3 in the Haas. Kilbick is in 5th position in the McLaren, Intent in 6th in the Renault. Racer and Toes right now are in a big battle right now. He tries to look on the inside. Let's see if he can make it there. There's a little bit of lag, and now there's a switchback here. There's a lot of lag right now on my screen as Toes is currently still behind Racer. And that might have been side by side there. I wouldn't have been able to know, though. There was ghosting on my screen, so that must have been the same on theirs. And I am getting a little bit of a lag spike over on my end, but nothing too serious. And now they're going side by side, Racer and Toes down the start-finish line. And this is big battles right now. In the turn 1, Racer following Toes closely. Now X-Bomb trying to chase down German. Now German did not pit despite having extensive front wing damage. And as you can see, the end plate is gone. So is a considerable amount of his front wing. X-Bomb is trying around the outside. German, though, does not let him by. And right on board of Intent right now is trying to chase down Kill in the McLaren. Will he make a late break into turn 4? I don't think he will. No. But now they're still battling X-Bomb and German. German with considerably less downforce than X-Bomb. X-Bomb should be carrying a lot more speed into these turns. And we're trying to see if he can finally get ahead of him. And no, not able to get ahead of him. And Toes is currently second fastest, trying to chase down Racer. Still a little bit of lag on my screen. I hope that's not the case for them. X-Bomb is just about a 1/10 of a second away, now 3/10 of a second away from German. DRS has been activated, coming into the slipstream of German in the Ferrari. He's going to go in the turn 1. German with considerably less downforce, still making good exits. Now DRS again for X-Bomb. Now coming up towards German in the turn 3. There's going to be a challenge from Toes, I believe. Yes, on the inside in the turn 3. Still side by side. Toes and Racer side by side coming out of the exit. And then German has had a big spin and a crash. And he almost, his teammate has him hit. And that would have been terrible as they're still side by side. Toes on the inside in the turn 4, but no. Racer slots behind him, and yes, sorry, Toes into the lead of the race. And Intent makes an overtake on Kilb, who goes into the grass. Something happened there with his car. And the Ferrari of Hef is considerably going down the grid, and does he have damage? I don't know, but if he's going quite considerably slow right now. And Kill, does he have issues as well? He's also going quite slow. And yet, I think Kill has issues right now as he is going very slow and he's into the pit lane. Now, German should go into the pit lane as well as he had more front wing damage. Lap 10 right now of 36. And at the moment, it is Toes who's currently in the lead of the race, leading Racer. And just above a second. Now 0.6 of a second going into turn 4. And what an action-packed amount of events so far, and there's overtakes galore right now. Drivers are having a lot of issues. Now Seffi goes considerably slowly there. And here comes Flip Flop Fish. He's taking a big lunge in the turn 4. Ahead of Isolator he goes. And Flip Flop Fish gets himself into 6th position. He's currently on that soft compound tire, so he still has to make another pit stop, I do believe. And a lot of the drivers are actually on softs at the moment. It looks like almost all of them, so I have to think that's not true. As no, actually, almost all the runners in the top are, and all the runners in the top 11 are on soft tires. Only the bottom half do we have some changes of medium tires. Kill is the only driver currently running hards. Here comes, Axis and Flip Flop Fish are intent and Axis. Look at that. Axis runs intent off track. Now here comes Flip Flop Fish, who's going to try to overtake Axis. Axis is now squeezing, and I think Flip Flop Fish might say, listen, buddy, you're going to get overtaken whether you like it or not. And there goes Axis. Intent now is trying to make a switchback on Axis now. Axis pushed Intent off track, and I think Axis might be getting a little bit of a different intent next time around as Flip Flop gets challenged a little by Axis around the outside. Intent, though, trying to make an overtake on Axis and is now getting a little bit of dirty air. Axis taking a good line, better than Flip Flop Fish through there. And it is going to be interesting to see how the drivers handle that, as Axis did push Intent off track and then looked to almost push Flip Flop onto the grass. And a few drivers are into the pits as Isolator gets ahead and then goes in the 6th position. Axis, I do believe Intent went into the pits. Yes, he did. Now, does he have to get his front wing replaced? Yes, he does. And the car is just stopped on track. No idea what's going on there. And they finally changed tires. Was there a pit lane penalty for him? I don't know if there was. And Axis is behind Flip Flop Fish by a considerable margin. And this is very interesting indeed. Seffi now goes down to 12th. He has had issues again. Is there front wing damage on the car? I don't know. Maybe he just went slowly. Somebody's going wide. It's Scar Logan and Gurman, as Gurman just gets ahead of Scar Logan LPC, and now Scar Logan is outside of the top 10 and 11th. And V8 overtakes Isolator, who also, people are just slowing up a lot, and I don't really know why that's happening, as battles are not really happening too much, it seems. And it is Flip Flop who gets ahead of X-Bomb, who goes into the pit lane, and now Flip Flop finds himself in 3rd position again on track. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is WSRX. Thank you very much for joining us, and you are watching the 2020 WSR2 Austrian Grand Prix, and it is Flip Flop Fish currently who is in 3rd position on track, and Axis has gone ahead of V8 somehow again. The gaps are like coming big. Drivers are making a lot of mistakes, I think. No crashes except for Broncos in the beginning of the race. And an unfortunate situation for him, but that is racing, and things like that too tend to happen when you're racing on the limit. And thank you very much for joining us if you are on the live stream right now. A pleasure to have you in the race broadcast. And just riding on board of toes right now. Coming in the turn 1, he's 2.3 seconds ahead of Racer. Flip Flop Fish is now in the 2nd position as Racer goes into the pits, and he will be making a pit stop onto the medium compound tire. And V8 gets ahead of him. Axis has a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Axis is going all over track right now. V8 should... Yep, and he is now, in fact, in DRS range. Axis is having a lot of issues, and now he's slowing up considerably. Coming in the turn 3, Axis is very, very slow right now, and V8 should try to get ahead of him if he can. Those soft tires are on 13 laps. They should be wearing out a lot, as now Axis squeezed V8 there and then made a switchback, and ooh, look at that. V8 was not nice about that, and I think Axis might need a little bit of slap in the face. He's made a few questionable moves on track, and V8 said, listen, buddy, if you're going to squeeze me, I'm going to squeeze you too. And Axis has been overtaken by V8 and now is on the podium. But again, very worn soft compound tire, which Axis might be dealing with right now. And, oop, trying to make an outside move. No, and it is a V8 who goes into the pit lane. Axis now gets ahead of him again. And what is he doing? Axis is slowing up on track. I would like to think he's not doing what I think he's doing, but he is going considerably slowly. And Axis gets into second. Questionable actions right now, as there's a safety car deployed, as Scar Logan crashed. That's what happened. Now, where did he crash? No idea. There's no yellow flags. I don't see the car stopped on track. I have no idea what happened there. It's a DNF, though, from Scar Logan LPC. And the safety car has been deployed, so that's why Axis was slowing up. As this should play into the hands of Flip Flop, who should make a pit stop after this and switch onto those medium tires. And a bit of a confusing race, to say the least, on my part. I do apologize for that. And there goes Axis into the pit lane. Catastrophic has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So he's already down a lap. He might be down a lot more than that after the drive-through penalty that he has to now do. And Flip Flop Fish gets out of the pit lane, and he should just get ahead of the Haas right here. And yes, he will. And he's into third place. Behind is X-Bomb. Now, medium tires for him. He should go till the end of the race on that compound of tire. Lap 16 right now of 36. So 20 laps to go. And it is currently Toes right now, though, who is in the lead of the race. One lap old mediums. Racer is behind him. Axis has dropped to 5th right now. He's currently behind X-Bomb in the Haas. And a little bit of lag right there. Scar Logan LPC has left the session. And I am going to get back with you guys in just a moment, as we're currently under safety car conditions. And it is Toes in the lead. Racer behind him, and Flip Flop Fish is in third. And safety car should be coming in momentarily, as I do believe, yes, it will be going into the pit lane. And Racer almost makes an overtake on him. And Toes should get a good jump as he slows up the pack. We're about to get under green racing conditions once again, and coming around the final turn, there he is. Here comes Racer, and then Toes is actually, well, I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know why Racer is ahead of him. He wasn't ahead of him under safety car conditions, but Racer has overtaken Toes, and I don't know if he overtook him before the safety car restart, so that is interesting to say the least. As here we go, in the turn 3, will Racer make an overtake there? And yes, Toes on the inside. And Toes gets it back into the lead of the race. Racer is ahead of him, though, making the switch back there. As coming down into turn 4, Racer is into the lead. There's issues going on my screen a lot now. A lot of lag right now as they're jockeying positions. And I can't accurately update you on that at the moment. And we're just riding on board right now with Toes, who's in second position, and he's behind him by 0.5 of a second. The car sounds like it's redlining again, which tends to happen a little bit in spectator mode. Not too sure why that happens. DRS will be activated here, and he's actually considerably getting to Racer quite close, but that redlining is odd. And no, he does finally switch gears, and I think that might have been an actual issue for Toes, rather than a glitch. X-Bomb is in third position right now. He's getting challenged currently by Axis, who goes on the inside, tries to make an overtake there. He's still side by side with Bomb, and now Bomb will drop out of it, and Axis goes in third position, currently in the Mercedes. So Axis, with questionable decisions on track, has brought himself into third on the grid. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. I'm not too sure what that's for. I'm not seeing it on my map, which is interesting. Still another yellow flag there. I think somebody might be going slowly. DRS has now been enabled, as here comes Toes. He's going to come in the turn 1. He will now have DRS. He would be able to mount now a more sizable challenge. Axis is 1.9 seconds, so currently not in DRS detection range, and I think he's a little bit too far back from Racer to be considering an overtake, and yes, he will remain behind Racer coming through turn 3. Bomb is still in the competition, though. 0.5 behind Axis. And he's currently in the slipstream now of the Mercedes. Will he make a lunge on the inside into the turn? No, he won't. Yellow flag sector 3. And I'm not too sure who that's for. Gurman and Isolator are 5th and 6th respectively right now in the both Ferraris. X-Bomb with a bad run out of there, and Axis will get ahead of him a little bit more. Isolator currently in 6th position in the Ferrari, chasing down his teammate. Both Ferraris would like to have a good points finish, though we will have to wait and see on that one, as X-Bomb in 4th, behind Axis by about a second. Gurman is trying to chase down X-Bomb. Coming in the turn 1, Gurman should overtake X-Bomb quite easily here with DRS, but now there is still DRS for Isolator. Now Kilbick is getting overtaken by Axis, and in the turn 3 he goes. Here comes X-Bomb and Gurman, who made contact. Now Gurman pushed X-Bomb off track, it looked like there. That's the same place that we saw Verstappen push Leclerc off the track and win the Austrian Grand Prix. No penalty was given out at that moment. And Gurman right now, though, in the 4th position, chasing down Axis. Mercedes versus Ferrari, a possibility at the moment, as Racer is still ahead of Toes right now in this race. Lap 21 of 36. And we are just about 15 laps to go till the end of this race. And here we go. In the turn 1, Racer getting unchallenged. Now Toes with DRS might be able to make a challenge now. riding behind Racer, now going into turn 3. Let's see what happens here. He goes on the inside, and the overtake is finally made. Toes into the lead of the race. Racer tries to make a switchback, but slots behind Toes instead. Now, he should try to make a move on the outside in the turn 4, and he will. Late braking. Who breaks latest? It is Toes who breaks latest. And he will give him just about enough room, but Toes will lead the race now with a beautiful overtake and defensive move by himself. Now, Axis is ahead of Gurman into 3rd position. Now, there's another crash. 6 laps behind the rest of the pack is catastrophic. And the crash is at the end of Sector 2, just at the turn there. Now, is there going to be a safety car deployed? We're going to have to wait and see on this. There is the car. And I don't believe we're going to get a safety car. Just saved right there for now. And 3-second time penalty for X-Bomb for multiple warnings. And I don't believe we're going to get a safety car at all. Car should be good to go. It will despawn off track, and there it is. It does go away, and lap 23 right now. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Isolator has crashed now. And that's a virtual safety car deployed. Virtual safety car deployed now. And this is getting very interesting indeed. Redline crashed out of turn 1. There is the Ferrari right there. And it is one less Ferrari to score points on the grid. And at the moment, Toes is in the lead of the race. Gurman is behind him in 3rd. Axis and Bomb are separated a little bit. V8 is in 6th. I don't believe any cars will take advantage of a pit stop, because I don't believe there's much of advantage for most of the drivers. The only driver I could see doing that might be his Redline, as that soft wool tire is not going to be very good for him. As Voodoo, speeding under the virtual safety car. Toes now speeding up considerably after that, and Toes is now into the lead of the race again. Now, the Racer made an overtake there again, and somehow I am confused about the battling that's going on for the lead of the race, but now Toes and Racer are side by side, and then Toes goes behind Racer. There's a lot of lag issues on my end, I think, which is causing me not to be able to accurately tell you who's in the lead of this race. And Redline and Voodoo 52 swap places, as Voodoo must do his drive-through penalty, and there he comes out of the grid again. And that is 12th position now for Voodoo 52, so running well into the points, now is out of that. I'm going to ride on board of Toes right now, who is chasing down Racer for the lead of this race. Also trying to chase down Axis is X-Bomb. 1 second behind the Mercedes driver, who is 2.4 seconds behind Gurman, who is 3.2 seconds behind Toes, who is chasing down the lead. Axis has left the session. Now, that is interesting. X-Bomb will get ahead of him, I presume. Maybe Axis had an issue with his internet connection. We've seen this happen with Voodoo 52, who would have won the race had he had not had an issue with his internet. X-Bomb should overtake him now. Still ghosting, and now he still hasn't made the overtake, but now he finally does do so, as Axis will drop the 5th. And now V8 just has to catch up to Axis. Now, Axis, I don't believe, has a backup invite, so he is officially just out of the race in general. It is lap 25 right now of 36. And unfortunate for Axis, who currently will not be able to finish the race and won't be scoring any points. Currently still ghosting, so I do believe he is officially out of the lobby. Toes is still chasing down Racer and going into turn 1, not having the best run out of turn 1. He might have been compromised there, but then Racer runs up on the grass, and that might have no one voided the compromise, as here comes Toes. He's going to look on the inside, but no, does not make a move. Looks on the outside then, and no, stays behind Racer. It's lap 26 of 36, so just about 10 laps, including this one, to go. All the drivers except the top two are separated by a few couple of seconds. V8 field, though, is actually getting close to Axis now, finally. Going to try to overtake him. Going to ride on board of Toes right now. This is the current only battle on track. There's 10 more laps to go. The drivers, I presume, as Racer goes really wide out of there. And now, again, lag. I can't tell you when they're closer. It's about 2/10 separating the drivers right now. Now 3/10 again. Now coming up onto this DRS straight. Toes should have a decent challenge for Racer, probably in the turn 3. Braking hard. Turn 1. Keeping it on the curb a little bit, but not extending track limits. Now coming up to the end towards turn 3. Braking very, very late. Almost a beautiful move around the outside, but Racer does not let it happen. And Zuti is into the pits, and he doesn't believe his tires can go till the end. And he is going to put on, I believe those are mediums. Yes, they are mediums, and it's a front wing replacement. Racer is currently in the lead of the race, 0.3 of a second ahead of Rudy. And it's yellow flag sector 1. And I don't know what that's for. Nobody's going considerably slowly as it does expire. Here comes Rudy chasing down Racer, who has a little bit of a oversteer moment there in of the penultimate turn. Now DRS activated, coming up towards turn 1. Braking late, trying to get a good exit. He does get a good exit. There's DRS activated, and he should hopefully make an overtake on Racer for his race to get into the lead. What will happen here? Oh, and a dummy by Rudy in the turn 1, but he goes too wide, and then Racer gets ahead of him again. So tried the dummy switchback, did not happen, and Rudy is 0.5 away now from Racer. And Rudy currently in second position. Racer is in first. Leading the race for the first time is Racer, and hopefully going to get a win for the Racing Point. Gurman is in third right now on the Ferrari, hopefully getting the prancing horse on the podium. Gurman looking for a good result here. Voodoo 52 is in 11th. Flip-Flop Fish all the way down in 8th right now on the grid. Lap 39 of 36. We're getting into the final few laps here as Voodoo 52 is chasing down Wise and hopefully getting into a little battle here, and that would promote him back into the points. And it's on hards he's on right now. Mediums on 10 laps for Wheeze. Wise, Wheeze. I'm not going to try. We're just going to call him It's. I'm not going to butcher some names today. Lap 29 of 36. Voodoo trying to chase down It's. I do apologize, my mic got unplugged there. Riding on board with Rudy now, who is back within a second of Racer. Here comes into turn 3, and no, does not happen. And this might be a race. This might be over. Racer might be able to just keep the momentum going. Seffi right now is behind Axis, who is currently in 7th, so some pit stops has caused Axis to jump again in the pit lane. 12.7 seconds is Flip-Flop coming up towards Axis. Voodoo 52 is dropped back from It's. 1.2 seconds now, that gap. There's a second almost now separating Racer and Rudy. Coming into the final penultimate turn and then the final turn, Rudy is now 0.8 of a second. Getting closer in the slipstream, but not able to make an overtake. Lap 31 to 36, so 5 laps, including this one, to go in this race. Austrian laps are about are about a minute and some change. So, pretty quick races around the Red Bull Ring, as Racer is on set to win this race. There's Intent with a 3-second time penalty. Intent is actually quite close to Flip Flop. He is now 0.6 of a second away from him at the moment. 0.4 away is Rudy in the Williams, trying to make a challenge on the Racing Point. Now, DRS activated, coming up towards turn number 3, and let's see what he can do. Coming around the outside, braking late, Voodoo 52 just gives him enough room. And oh wow, Intent there almost lost the car, and he might drop back a little bit now. Here comes Toes out of the final turn. He got a very good run. He might overtake him before turn 1 with DRS. He's going to try to go on the inside, possibly no, slotting behind him. But he should definitely be able to make an overtake onto this DRS Strone. Nothing is over yet. Here comes Rudy, side by side with Racer, coming up towards turn 3, and there's a little bit of contact there. Around the outside is Rudy. Now Racer on the inside with better traction. They're side by side right now, Williams and Racing Point. Look at this. This is an amazing battle right now for the lead of this race. And Toes looking to hang it around the outside, but not able to. I do believe that is catastrophic, who is a total 15 laps down, and a virtual safety car has been deployed. And that might make this a little more interesting, as it is lap 32 of 36. Now, if this virtual safety car ends fairly quickly, it wouldn't make too much of a difference. But at the moment, dropping back, has to keep his delta within a similar time span the Racer. And we're going to start lap 33 of 36. And this is going to help Racer at the moment with this virtual safety car. Here comes DRS enabled. Isolator has left the session. And here comes Toes. And oh no, Toes runs it up on the grass. And now, big compromise for Toes. And Racer might just have gotten the guarantee he needs to win this race unless he makes mistakes. But now Toes into turn 3. No, not able to make an overtake. 0.5 away now from Racer. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Another virtual safety car, or safety car in fact, would end this race, and Racer would be your race winner. But we'll have to see what happens. 0.3 now separating the top 2 drivers. They're getting very, very close to each other. It's getting very dicey. I'm going to want to ride on board a Flip Flop Fish, who should be making an overtaking on Intent into turn 3 on the inside. Locks his brakes a little bit, but he does make the overtake into 7th position. Intent did get better traction, though, out of the turn, and might make an overtake on the inside into turn 4. Flip Flop Fish is going to be on the outside. Braking latest is Intent. Now on a switchback, but Intent does get ahead of Flip Flop Fish. Flip Flop Fish might look around the outside. Yes, he will. Is this going to be an overtake here? This would be outrageous, but no. Not able to make an overtake there, but yes, he will. And it is Flip Flop who gets ahead of Intent with a beautiful move there. Toes and Racer are still battling for the lead, as Racer does get ahead of Toes again. They made a little bit of a squabble in turn number 3. But now it is Toes ahead of Racer, then Racer ahead of Toes. Again, a little bit of lag there, so not too sure who exactly was the victor in that battle. If there was just lag, or it was in fact a good battle. But now it is lap 34 of 36. 3 laps to go, including this one. 20 lap old tires of mediums for Racer. Toes is currently in 2nd. Racer is in, Gurman is in 3rd in the Ferrari. X-Bomb is in 4th. V8 in 5th. And it is Flip Flop Fish who's battling Intent. Intent gets overtaken again by Flip Flop Fish before turn 4. And uh-oh, Intent crashes, spins the car, and that has been a bad, bad end to a race for Intent, who will have to make a pit stop. Racer and Toes switch positions again. Toes gets ahead of Racer, lap 35 of 36. No safety car at all. Final 2 laps. Still all the play for, but Intent will drop back down the grid as Seffi will get ahead of him and go in the 8th, and Wise will go in the 10th. Voodoo 52 will be saved by this and will get himself a point in this race once Intent makes the pit stop. It is lap 35 of 36, and Racer has dropped back a little bit from Toes. This might have been it for the battling. Toes, who was looking behind Racer's rear diffuser, might now make the overtake, and now Toes is still battling, though, a little bit, lagging on track. Catastrophic now getting overtaken. Catastrophic left the session. That is why he is down 19 laps in this race. Blue flags are being waved. And Racer gets a 3-second time penalty, extending track limits. And that is it. Toes is your winner of this race. Barring he does not receive any penalties, Toes is your winner in the race. Racer with a 3-second time penalty is not going to be able to win this race under any circumstances unless Toes makes an accident or in fact gets his own penalty. But the gap is now just close to a second, now is in fact a second, and this should be the end of the race for him. Racer, though, will hopefully get a podium unless Gurman does not have any penalties. He will then jump Racer and get into second position. Gurman, though, gets a 3-second time penalty, so forget about that one. That might kill Gurman's chance of second position. But here comes Toes. He's going to come around the final turn, and he is going to win the WSR Austrian Grand Prix. Racer finishes in second. Gurman will finish in third. X-Bomb is coming around the finish in fourth. And V8 Field will finish in fifth. Flip Flop Fish, who was filling in a Williams, I believe might be going for fastest lap at a race. He's got 1 lap new soft compound tires. Voodoo with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. You don't want to be doing that now, as Wise is going to make an overtake here. It's a final battle for the final points position here. And Axis, now did he push Voodoo off track? No. It was just a good defensive move by him as Voodoo backed out of it. Wise will get the final point. And Flip Flop Fish, will he go fastest on grid? Yes, he will. 106.1. Fastest in the race. Intent coming around the final turn, going rather slowly, and he will finish in 8th place. I don't believe he made a pit stop. And if he did make a pit stop, no, I don't believe he did. He just stuck it out with his damage. And Voodoo 52 will finish in 11th place. Seffi just behind him is at the Haas. I believe, no, that is a Haas instead. Redline now 12 laps behind. Does he have no fuel? I think he is out of fuel. So Redline, is he just going to go into the pits? Please don't go into the pits. And yeah, he's going to go into the pits, and this is actually going to take longer now. Unless he just crosses the finish line, which I think he will in fact. But it is Toes who wins the Grand Prix. And he should just finish right there. And yes, he will. Toes wins the Austrian Grand Prix. And a very, very good win for him after intense battling with Racer. On the podium is the Ferrari of Gurman, who will round off the grid of the top 3. Thank you very much for watching. Toes is your winner. Racer in second. Gurman in third. Thank you very much for watching this coverage of the Austrian Grand Prix for WSR2. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and more action in WSR. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Italian Grand Prix at 6 p.m. for the WSR Formula World Championship. My name is WSRX, and have yourselves a wonderful night.